Good morning class 12 students. So this is your subject physics, chapter number 10, that is wave optics, and lecture number 5. So in lecture number 4 we have completed interference. So today we will be starting with diffraction, that is diffraction of light. Okay, so first of all, to define diffraction, that is bending of light around corners of an obstacle in the path of light. Okay, that means whenever light is traveling and any obstacle come into its path, then there is the bending of light around the corners of that obstacle, and that bending is called diffraction. Okay, now in interference we were having two slits, but in diffraction we will be having only one single slit. Okay, so diffraction will take place due to a single slit, and it happens, and diffraction is nothing but bending of light around corners of an obstacle which comes in the path of light. Okay, so now in interference, as you remember, we were denoting the distance between two slits by small d, but here we will be taking slit width because here we are having only one single slit, so the width of that slit will be denoted by small a. So there is a condition or you can say there is a relation between this slit width and the wavelength of light for which diffraction becomes more noticeable. So we can say diffraction becomes much noticeable when slit width, that is small a, is smaller than wavelength of light. That is, when a will be less than lambda, then diffraction will be much more noticeable, or you can say much more pronounced. For example, here these are the light waves and this is the single slit which has a slit width of a. So here we are taking that a is less than lambda, so therefore your diffraction pattern will be very clearly seen. And again, these are the rays which have bended, or you can say these were the initial plane wavefront, and now the wavefront has become diverging and the rays are going like this, that is, they have bended. So this is called diffraction of light. Okay, so if we take two waves, that is sound waves and your visible light, in sound waves diffraction can be observed easily. That is why, because sound waves have a much larger wavelength, therefore the size of your obstacle or you can say width of the slit becomes less than the wavelength of your waves. So therefore diffraction can be seen clearly because a is less than lambda in case of sound waves. But in case of visible light, the wavelength is small and therefore your size of obstacle becomes greater as compared to lambda. That is, this condition is opposite as this one, therefore diffraction of visible light is not so common. Okay, so for the diffraction to take place very easily and to take place such that it is noticeable, this condition should be satisfied, that is, your slit width should be less than the wavelength of light. Okay, so now as we derived conditions for constructive and destructive interference, similarly we will be deriving conditions for maxima and minima in diffraction pattern. Before that, let me tell you what our diffraction pattern looks like. So it is written here. The diffraction pattern consists of a central bright band having alternate dark and bright bands of decreasing intensity on both sides. That is, as in case of interference, here also central point will be your maxima, or you can say a bright band, but it will have alternate dark and bright bands, but they will be of decreasing intensity. In interference, all the bright bands and all the dark bands were having same intensities, but here the bright and dark bands will be having or you can say the bright bands will be having decreasing intensity because dark bands will be having zero intensity only. Okay, and but in interference all the bright bands were having same intensity and all the dark bands were having same intensity. Okay, so this is the difference between diffraction and interference. Okay, we will be drawing a graph for this also, that will make it much more clear to you. So for that, clear look here now, this AB is a single slit. As I already told you, in diffraction pattern we will be having a single slit. Okay, so AB is your single slit. D is the distance between the slit and the screen. This is your screen, and A is the slit width. Okay, so I have taken 3 rays here. Okay, so when they will strike the slit, they will get bended like this. Okay, so they are reaching a point P. Again, if I draw perpendicular lines on the screen, these points are E, C and F, and C is nothing but the midpoint of A and B, because O is midpoint of A and B and we have drawn a perpendicular, so C will also be the midpoint of A and B. And one more thing, the distance from C to P, we are taking it to be X. Okay, and this angle we are taking it to be theta. Okay, and if this is theta, obviously this will also be theta, or you can say this will also be theta. Okay, now if you clearly understand, C is the midpoint. That means the light waves which are coming from A and B will reach the C without any path difference, because C is at same distance from A and B. Therefore, light waves coming from A and B will be reaching C without any path difference, or you can say path difference between the light waves reaching at C from A and B will be 0. And as you know, if the path difference is 0, you have a constructive interference, or you can say this will be the point of central maxima in diffraction also. So therefore, path difference between the light waves reaching at C from A and B is 0, and therefore C is the point of central maxima. Now let us talk about point P. Now for this point P, as you can see, these light waves will be reaching from A and B. They have some path difference between them, and if you draw a perpendicular from A up to on BP, this will be the path difference. That is, the path difference will be BP minus AP, and that will be equal to this BN. Okay, so you can say path difference between the two light waves from A and B at P will be equal to BP minus AP, which is equal to BN. Mark it, first equation. Now consider triangle ABN, and in this triangle calculate sine theta. Now first of all, for that, see, this is theta and this will be 90 degrees. So that means this angle will be 90 minus theta, and this whole angle is also 90 degree. So this is 90 degree, this is 90 minus theta. That means this angle will also be theta. So if you calculate sine theta in triangle ABN, that will come to be perpendicular, that is BN, upon hypotenuse, that is AB. So sine theta will come to be BN upon AB, or you can say BN, that is your path difference, will come to be A sine theta, because AB is nothing but width of slit, which is small a. Mark it, second equation. Okay, so that means this will be the path difference between the light waves which would be reaching at P. Now we will see that what will happen now. Okay, so first, for that, what we will do, we will be deriving now conditions for secondary minimas and secondary maximas. Why secondary? Because see, your central is C point is a central maxima. So secondary here means we are talking about after that maxima, that is what will happen on the either side of your central maxima. So we are talking about secondary minimas. To calculate secondary minimas, let us consider the slit, that is your slit AB, to be divided into two parts. So as you can see, we till now we have not taken any use of this. So now we will be considering this line. So what we have done, we have divided AB into two parts, this one and this one, that is you can say OA and OB. Okay, so remember, we are calculating condition for secondary minima, and for that we have divided this slit AB into two equal parts, and yes, these are equal parts. Okay, and now one more thing we will take, let us take A sine theta, that is your path difference which is between the point which is there for the point P. Let us take it to be lambda. Okay, so we have considered two things. First, your slit is divided into two parts, and second thing, we are considering path difference to be lambda for slit AB. So now understand here, if for this whole slit the path difference is lambda, that means this for half portion that will be lambda by 2, as well for this half portion it will be lambda by 2. So this means if any wave is coming from this portion OA and if any wave is coming from this portion OB, both of them will be having a path difference of lambda by 2 between them, which I have written here, that is light waves from portion OA and OB will have a path difference of lambda by 2. And as you have studied in interference that 2n minus 1 lambda by 2 is for destructive interference. You have studied that this condition of path difference is for destructive interference. Now if you put n1 here, this will give you lambda by 2. So that means P is a point of first secondary minima, because when we are putting n equal to 1, we are getting a path difference of lambda by 2. And here also we are getting a path difference of lambda by 2. So you can say P is the point of first secondary minima. And when you are getting it, you are getting it when A sin theta is lambda, because we have assumed this and we have assumed this. Due to these two, we have got to know that we are getting a destructive interference at point P. That means P is a point of first secondary minima. Now if you suppose A sin theta to be 2 lambda, now for this you have to consider the slit to be divided into 4 equal parts. So again, due to those first two equal parts, the path difference will be lambda by 2, and due to other 2 equal parts, the path difference will be lambda by 2. That means they will again form a destructive interference at point P, and therefore the P point will become the point of second secondary minima. Okay, so that means lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda, 4 lambda, all will be the points of secondary minimas. So to generalize it, you can say for secondary minimas, A sin theta should be equal to n lambda, and n will vary from 1, 2, 3 and so on, because n equal to 0 is the point of your central maxima. So here n will be starting from 1, 2, 3 and so on. So this was about secondary minima. Now similarly we will talk about secondary maximas. Now for secondary maxima, again what we will do, we will consider AB to be divided into 3 parts. So students, remember here, if you are visualizing for minimas, you will divide the slit in even parts, that is either in 2 parts, 4 parts, 6 parts. But when you are talking about secondary maximas, you will be dividing the slit into odd parts, that is either into 3 parts, 5 parts, 7 parts, etc. Okay, to see first secondary maxima, we will be dividing the slit into 3 equal parts, and here we will consider A sin theta to be 3 lambda by 2. Okay, so this is the complete path difference for slit AB, and we have considered the slit to be divided into 3 equal parts. So I have drawn a different diagram here for that. So this slit is now divided into 3 equal parts. As you can see, I am denoting these points to be O and O dash. For this complete slit, we have considered the path difference to be 3 lambda by 2. If you divide it into 3 parts, that will become lambda by 2 for this, lambda by 2 for this, lambda by 2 for this. So now understand carefully, if any wave is going from this portion and from this portion, these two waves will be having a path difference of lambda by 2. So you can say the light waves from OA and OA dash will be having a path difference of lambda by 2. And again, this is a condition for destructive interference. That means light waves from these two will form a destructive interference, but here we have a third portion of slit also. Now from this portion some light wave will be coming. Now it does not have any another wave to form interference. That means there will be light on this point now, and on any point now. That means now the P will become the point of maxima, because due to these two portions a destructive interference was there, or you can say dark light was there. There was darkness, there was no light, but due to the third portion there will be some light, so therefore there will be a maxima. So if you consider the slit divided into 3 parts, and if you consider your path difference to be 3 lambda by 2, you will get your first secondary maxima. Similarly, if you consider A sin theta to be 5 lambda by 2, then you will get a second secondary maxima, but in this case the slit will be divided into 5 equal parts. Now to generalize this condition, you can say A sin theta will be equal to 2n plus 1 lambda by 2 for secondary minimas, and again n will vary from 1, 2, 3 and so on. So now we have derived two conditions for secondary maxima and for secondary minimas. Remember these conditions and remember n will be varying from 1, 2, 3 and so on. Now after that, consider triangle OPC in your diagram. That is this triangle OPC. In this triangle, calculate sin theta. So sin theta will be perpendicular, that is x, upon hypotenuse, that is d. And that is because we are considering theta to be very small. So this distance will be nearly equal to this distance because this theta is very, very small. Okay. So if your sin theta is x by d, and as you have calculated bn, that is your path difference, which is a sin theta. So put the value of sin theta, that will be ax by d. So this is also another form of path difference. So you can say ax by d should be n lambda for secondary minimas, and ax by d should be 2n plus 1 lambda by 2 for secondary maximas, and n will be varying from 1, 2, 3 and so on. These conditions you have just derived above. So I am just putting the value of path difference from this form to this form. Okay, so you can use either of the form according to the given conditions in the question. Okay, so here I have drawn a graph between intensity and path difference for your diffraction pattern. So as I told you, in diffraction pattern you will be having a central maxima. So this is your central maxima. On your x-axis we have plotted path difference, that is lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda, 4 lambda, and similarly here lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda and 4 lambda. So now as I told you, n lambda are the positions of secondary minimas. So this is your first secondary minima, this is your second secondary minima, this is your third secondary minima, similarly here, right? And as I told you, 2n plus 1 lambda by 2 are the positions are the path difference for your secondary maxima. So this will be 3 lambda by 2, you have a first secondary maxima. This will be 5 lambda by 2, you have a second secondary maxima, and so on both the sides, right? So that means the conditions that we have derived are satisfied in this graph. And one more thing, that intensities in your interference pattern, when you have drawn that, you saw that all the bands, all the fringes were having same intensity, but here the intensity of the different bands will go on decreasing on either side of the central maxima. And as we have denoted this point to be P, this point to be P, or you can say the distance we have taken it to be x. So this is x, this is also x. So you can say the width of the central maxima will be 2x. Okay, because this is the width of central maxima, this will be 2x. So from this graph you can say the bands are of unequal width and they are of decreasing intensity. Okay, so tomorrow we will be deriving a equation or you can say a formula for 2x, that is for the width of central maxima. Okay students, so go through the lecture properly. Okay students, now I'll discuss the questions that were given to you in homework in lecture number 4. So first question was question number 4. It says, in Young's double slit experiment, the slits are separated by 0.28 millimeter and the screen is placed 1.4 meter from the slits. Okay, so as you know, the distance between two slits is small d, which is given to be this much, and the distance between your slits and the screen is capital D, which is given to be this much. Further, the question says the distance between the central bright fringe and the fourth bright fringe is measured to be 1.2 centimeters. Determine the wavelength of light used in experiment. So as you know, the position of any bright fringe is given by x, that is equals to n lambda d by d, because bright fringe means constructive interference, and you have calculated this condition. This is given to be 1.2 centimeters. So now you know capital D, you know d, and you know n also. It is given to be fourth bright fringe, so that means n will be 4. So lambda will be xd upon nd. Now you know all the values, put it here. You will get the wavelength of light to be 6 into 10 to the power minus 7 meters. Next is question number 6. In that you are given a beam of light consisting of two wavelengths 650 nanometer and 520 nanometer is used to obtain interference fringes in a Young's double slit experiment. In A part, you have to find the distance of the third bright fringe on the screen from the central maxima for wavelength 650 nanometers. So I am taking the two wavelengths to be lambda 1 and lambda 2. So now again the third bright fringe is given, and again you know the distance from the central maxima is n lambda d by d. N is given to be 3. Because here d by d is not given, so we will be calculating the answer in the form of capital D upon small d. So solve the given, put the given values and you will get this answer. Okay. Now in the B part it is given what is the least distance from the central maxima where the bright fringes due to the both wavelengths coincide. So for that, first of all, let us suppose let nth fringe due to lambda 1 coincide with n minus 1th fringe due to lambda 2. Okay, so now if they are coinciding, that means their distance should be same, and both are for maximas. So that means for lambda 1, dn lambda 1 by d, that is lambda d by d, will be equal to, for lambda 2, this will be taken, that means n minus 1 lambda d by d. That means their distance from the central maxima becomes same. From here, this d by d will cancel out, so you will get n lambda 1 is equals to n minus 1 into lambda 2. Put the value of lambda 1 and lambda 2. When you will solve it, you will come to know that n is coming to be negative. That means we are doing something wrong here because we are getting value of n to be negative. That means we have considered something wrong here. So what we will do, we will now consider opposite thing. That is, we will consider that nth fringe of lambda 2 is coinciding with n minus 1th fringe of lambda 1. So if we are considering that, therefore n minus 1 into lambda 1 will become n equal to n lambda 2, because again d by d will cancel out. Now when you put the values of lambda 1 and lambda 2, you will see that n is coming to be positive and it is coming to be. So this means fifth bright fringe due to lambda 2 will be coinciding with fourth bright fringe due to lambda 1. Now again to calculate least distance, that will be n lambda 2 d by d, because we are taking n for lambda 2. Calculate that, that will come to be this much for lambda 2. And if you want to calculate for lambda 1, you have to calculate this value into d by d. Okay. Okay, now in question number 16, you are given in double slit experiment using light of wavelength 600 nanometer, the angular width of a fringe formed on a distant screen is 0.1 degrees. What is the spacing between the two slits? So lambda is given to be 600 nanometers. Angular separation is given to be 0.1 degrees. Now as you know, as I told you in last lecture, that angular separation is lambda by small d. From here, small d will come to be lambda by theta. Now the common mistake that students make here is this: they put theta directly to be 0.1 degrees, but that is wrong. Always remember, when you are putting the value in formulas, you will always put the value of theta in radians. Okay, so how to calculate, how to find a relation between degree and radians? So the relation is this, that is 180 degree is equals to pi radian. From here you can calculate value of any degree in radians. For example, here you are given 0.1 degree. By using unitary method, 0.1 degree will come to be pi by 180 into 0.1. So we will be putting this value of theta here. So we have just put that value. Solve it by putting value of pi. You will get the spacing between two slits to be 3.5 into 10 to the power minus 4 meters. Okay students, after going through today's lecture, you can do question number 17 and 19 from your NCERT book. Thank you.